Hello. Today we'll create a timesheet uh, using Excel. Let's say we have some projects that our employees work on, spend hours on, and so we'll start with creating a project list. So, and let's say we have um, 30 projects. And they're named project 1 through 30. Okay, and we'll also create a master timesheet. This will be a template that we can use for number of employees we have. So let's call this master timesheet. And here we'll have sections for each month, and each month we'll have columns for a day within a month. And then also we'll list the projects here. So let's say we start with January 1st, right? And here, this is January. We'll have a list of projects here. For example, let's say this is a timesheet for an employee. We'll have the list of projects here that this particular employee worked on in January, and they can enter their hours here. And let's select projects here. We have 30 projects, I think. Let's see if this works. Okay, so 6 projects. Let's add a column here. So let's say this employee works on, spends some time on these projects in January. So she puts, this employee puts the hours here, and they would, I don't know, spend between 1 and 8 hours when they do work on a project, if they work on a project. So between 1 hour and 8 hours anytime they work on a project. So if we do this, so as you can see, this employee spent some time on some of the projects on some of the days. And when they come in or come into this, they get to this timesheet, they can log their hours as they work. And we'll summarize it on a summary sheet. what happens here is that this timesheet can be uploaded to a SharePoint site, and each employee will have a tab here for them, and they can come in and log their hours and add the projects they worked on here. It could be, 6, it could be more if they worked on a more project, and log the hours for each day within a month. That's a lot of projects, so let's just say they work on 5 projects in January. Now, let's create a summary sheet. Well, what I'm going to do is create this sample or template for January, and once we create the summary, and I'll add the rest of the months. So let's create the summary now. The summary sheet should pick up all the hours for each employee uh, based on employee name and also based on project number. So in the columns we'll have the months, so first month, second month, third month. So let's have 12 months. And we'll separate them based on the number of employees we have. So let's say this first section is going to be for employee number 1, but for now we'll look up the items from the master timesheet for January. So in January, in this timesheet, we have these projects, right? This will change again. I don't want to do a lookup. Let's create a copy here. Let's go ahead and hard code this for now. Let's say this is February and this is January. So we'll look up the January items now. We don't have an employee name. We have a master timesheet for now. And we'll have the list of projects. Let's see. I have to look up, I have to get the total number of hours that we have in this timesheet for January on this project. So on this project in January, we have how much? We have 75 hours, right? Let's sum them. $359 hours, that's too much for one employee in 1 month, I believe. So let's do this. Instead of between 1 and 8, we'll do 1 and 4. So in 1 month they spent 200 hours. I guess that's reasonable. On various projects. And some of the days they're working quite a bit. Like this one, 14 hours. Anyway, this is just an assumption. So that we need to have 194 hours for January, right? In here. How do we do that? Um, let's do sum if, right? Sum if so $35 for this project, hours for this project in January. Is that right? That looks right. So, and we can drag this over to pick up other months. Let's have other months too. So instead of 1 and 8, we'll do 1 and 4. And this is February. We should have a date list here. Let's create a date list. Call it dates, so I don't have to keep entering the dates. So let's see, dates. Start with, let's see. So we have dates here. We don't need this. All right, so we have all the dates here. So what we can do is just create a link. We don't have to change anything going forward. Same here. I wonder, let's see. This is only picking up January. That's not good because if we have the same project in February, it'll get picked up here. So we'll have to use some ifs. So what we can do is add the month number here. Let's see. This is the total. This is the month number. So see if this works here. Okay. So now I have to use some ifs instead of some if. Let's see, some ifs. Some range would be here. Let's lock this. Criteria range. It's here. Let's also lock the row. And another criteria range is project lists. Let's lock this. It should be equal to this. So some range is AH. I wonder what's in AI. 35. What's in AI? Month number. Let's go ahead and lock that too. So so now if we roll this, it should pick up February. This is 0 for project 25. Let's see if this works. Let's see, we have project 25 here, right? Total here is 36. Now it comes over. That's good. So and we can drag this over. Now let's add the rest of the months. And I wonder if this is right. So let's go ahead and add the dates. We'll do this part manually, but going forward, we won't have to do. We don't have to update this going forward. You'll always look up the months correctly, so we don't need this. This is April. June, July. Okay, so said now next year, the reason we did this is that next year when we have to update this for next year, we can just change this year and everything updates, including these dates here. So, and now we also should have also some totals here. Project 25. Now to pick up, let's say this is an employee, right? To pick up all these hours for all the months and for all the projects, we would have to have a full list of the projects that this employee worked on. So let's actually create a template now or sheet for an employee. This we'll save this. Let's save this um, as a master sheet, so we get random numbers. And let's call this employee 1, right? Now I have to switch the sheet names to employee 1. See if I can do that. So this is looking up employee number 1's hours, right? And now that's not what we want to do, right? You don't want to keep replacing values here. And this, let's say this section should only pick up hours for employee 1. So what we need to do is let's add employee number 1's name here. They're generically named employees. And instead of just pointing to the sheet, it should look up the sheet name from this column. That's why we're adding it here. So we'll have to replicate this formula and make it a little bit more dynamic. So instead of just spelling out the employee 1 here, I want to add an indirect function to point to the correct sheet based on the value here. So employee 1, we get this value here. it would be indirect apostrophe at and the value here, so A3, and another apostrophe and exclamation and quotation. Is that right? AH doesn't change, so let's go ahead and include those in here, see if that works. $sign AH, colon $sign AH, and that's it. Quotation mark. Right, so let's try, see if this works. Instead of all this, enter this, right? Yeah, that works. So now we'll replace all this. Again, AI doesn't change because that's the column for a month number that doesn't move. AH doesn't change, so we can use those. And actually, these don't change either. So A3, let's do this. See if this works for the other columns. We'll do the same here, but with AI. And same here, but with BB. Summary B3. We also have to get B3. Oh, we don't have to because it's already. Let's see if that works. So that didn't work. Was there a problem here? D3. That's no good. So. All right. Let's go ahead and add this to our master timesheet. Or no, it should work. Let's check if this works for another. Create another tab here. For employee number 2. And this is all employee 1 hours for all months, right? So now we have to create the same thing for employee 2. So 36 in January for project 25. 36, okay. Now, in order for this to work correctly, let's go ahead and hard code these hours. Let's say they, well, actually we need to also do the same. That didn't work. We have a lot of projects here. Let's see how many projects this is. $27 projects. I guess that's, I don't know. Let's say this is reasonable. So employee, where did we get this? That's even right. Let's hard code all this. Employee one. See, what happens is employees enter their projects here and also enter the hours. So I'm just assuming they already entered their hours here and selected the projects they worked on particular month and the hours they spent on each of these projects. So let's go ahead and hard code these also so we can test them. So this is so these are the projects that this employee worked on. They input it here and they also enter their hours. Now we'll summarize all the projects for this employee. So we'll have to make a list, a unique list here for these projects. Let's see. Did it work? E2. That didn't work. Let's try it one more time. Where's it going? So here's the list of projects this employee one worked on this year. It'll have to add all the projects in each of these rows here. I mean, in each of the months. Not here, but in the summary. So instead of jumping to employee 2 here, we'll have to have all this here. This is all employee 1. This is all the projects that the employee worked on. And these are all of their hours. And this is it. So they spent 2,265 hours on all these projects. And this is how we look up hours based on project, month, and employee name. And for employee 2, it'll be something similar. So now when we add the employee 2, they'll have different project numbers and different hours. So this is all. For the sake of simplicity, let's go ahead and hard code everything for now. So if we go here, do the same thing, we get the unique projects here. Why is this not working? Is it because it's a formula? It's because it's dynamic. Let's try it here. That didn't work. Let's do this. See if this works. Well, it works now. So here's a unique list. So these are the projects that employee 2 worked on all year. Oh, the project's here. The name's going to be here. And this is how we summarize, like I said, the hours based on month, project number, and employee name. Now going forward, I'm sure there'll be more than 2 employees working on these projects. So we'll keep this as a master sheet when there's another employee. So let's say we have employee number 3. Lookup will be very quick. So if there's a new employee, right, we'll just add another tab. Call the employee 3. 3. And they have their hours here and their projects here. So like I said, this I'm selecting these randomly, but employees select these projects as they come into this timesheet and they enter their hours. I'm just entering everything as a random value. So let's say they came in here every month, they upload, entered their hours every month, and all we have to do is copy this down. This will be employee 3. And we'll also have different list of projects. I have to hard code this for it to work again. See if I can get the unique list here. So that works. this is the hours that employee 3 worked on, projects. So yeah, this is how you can create a timesheet. And of course, like I said, there will be more employees. I had done this before, and where I worked, there were over 30 employees entering their hours on different projects. And this is how I keep tab on number of hours and summarize it by the project number and the name for each month. And yeah, this is it. This is how I use Excel to create a timesheet. And once it takes some time to set it up, like I said, but once it's set up, adding new tabs, only takes a few seconds for another employee. If you have 30 employees or 50, you can add as many tabs here and add them here, and then hours will be summarized all here. And this is it. Thank you.